$1,035,878. That is the average sales price right now for a single family house here in the Fort Lauderdale area east of 95. But the good news is we're definitely starting to enter more so into a buyer's market, especially on the single family side, but 100% on the condo and townhome side. But what does that mean for you? So in this video, we're gonna take a look at where we're at in terms of the real estate market in February of 2025 here in the Fort Lauderdale area. So we're gonna take a look at the number of active listings, the time to sell, our average price points, as well as our months of inventory. Then from there, we're gonna dive into some of the active listings, kind of see what we can get at that average and median price point, along with our most expensive listing right now in the greater Fort Lauderdale area, and most importantly, the most affordable listing right now in the Fort Lauderdale area. But before we jump into all that, all I ask is that if you or anyone you know are looking to buy, sell, or invest here in Fort Lauderdale or in South Florida in general, my team and I would love to be your real estate resource of choice. We've helped hundreds of families just like you make the move here to Fort Lauderdale and South Florida, and unfortunately, some of them to actually leave the South Florida area. But whatever we can do to help you, please let us know. You can call us, email, text us, whatever's easiest for you. We got you. But now let's dive into the stats. Let's take a look at where we're at right now as a market in February of 2025. Okay, so let's start off with the active number of listings. We'll do single family, and we're doing everywhere from Fort Lauderdale all the way up to Deerfield on the east side of 95. So as we can see, we're just slowly creeping up and up and up. Right now, as it currently stands, we're at a little bit over 2,000 active single family listings across all those areas. And we've been creeping up like that line graph looked like. So about 1,800, 1,842, 1,791, last month, 1,964, and this month we're at about 2,000. Now that's on the single family side. Now let's take a look at the condo and townhome side. And the condo and townhome side, for everything you'll start to see is like a lot more inventory. They're sitting a little bit longer, but the most interesting thing is actually what's happening with the prices for some of them. But as you can see, even more inventory across the board. We're at almost 3,800 units of condos and townhomes. And I did filter out the 55 plus ones because I think that starts to skew the data a little bit because it is a much smaller buyer pool and a completely different buyer persona. But as we can see, creeping up from 3,300, almost 34, 37. Now we're at 3,800. Now from the average number or the active number of listings, let's go to the days to sell. Let's look at the average because I like the average more than the median personally. Right now we're at about between 80 to 90 days for condos and townhomes. So just shy of 3 months, which isn't terrible considering the amount of inventory we have, but it's definitely starting to creep up there in terms of time. Like we were sitting around 70 to 80 days. And now we're about another 10 days beyond that. Now let's look at the single family side of things. As it loads, single family starting to creep up there as well, about 60 to 70 days. So just a little bit over 2 months, still about 30 days, quicker than that of condos and townhomes. But the big thing with condos and townhomes is a lot of the financing issues that are being had. Now it's getting a whole lot better because a lot of the assessments are already paid for. They're starting to have that fully funded reserve fund and you kind of know exactly what you're getting into. There's less ambiguity, but there's still some issues with some older buildings. Now on the single family side, it's just taking a little bit longer because we're starting to see a lot more inventory. Now from there, let's take a look at our months of inventory. So we'll start off with the single family as it starts to load here. So we've been creeping up 7, 8 months, 10 months last month in January. Right now we're sitting at about 21 months of supply of single family homes. Now by the end of this month, I do expect that to drop a little bit, but we'll still be definitely more so in a buyer's market. Equilibrium's about 6 months. As you can see, last month we had 10 months of supply for single family. So by far a buyer's market. Now on the condo and townhome side of things, let's take a look as it loads here. Definitely shot right up, but as you can see, slowly increasing. And then in February, obviously that hockey stick. But 12 months, 14, we had 11 in December, things kind of slowed down. 17 in January. Now we're sitting at about 35 months of supply. Definitely a buyer's market on both sides. I will say you definitely see a lot more concessions and a lot more wheeling and dealing on the condos and townhome side of thing. Single family, depending on what you're trying to get into, there are some deals to be found and there are some negotiation points. However, if you're looking for a home on the water that's updated, they got a brand new seawall, updated roof or new roof, impact windows, there's a little bit of wiggle room, but it becomes a completely different ball game because that home is pretty much turnkey. We'll say the same thing for most condos and townhomes as well. A lot of the turnkey stuff, not as much wiggle room and negotiation power, but there still is some here and there. Now, the most important thing, let's look at our average price points. So on the condo and townhome side of things, this is the interesting thing, like I was talking about. You're slowly starting to increase in price, even though we're entering a buyer's market. So as you can see, we're at 466,000, then 527, then we dipped a little bit in December to 517, then up to 539, and now we're almost at $600,000 as our average sales price on the condos and townhome side. Now on the single family side of things, a little bit kind of all over the place, but we were right around that low 900 mark in October, November, and then we've been right in between about $1 million to $1.2 million these last couple months. And a lot of that has to do with some of these mega homes that are on the water, these spec homes that are being built and sold, and they kind of do skew the average a little bit. Like I was saying, I mean, they're brand new luxury homes with everything that you'll need. They're pretty much turnkey. What a lot of developers are coming in and doing, they're either buying empty lots that are on the intercoastal or on the water, building a home, or they're buying homes, knocking them down, and then rebuilding from there. However, one thing I do want to take a look at here is the days to sell. So let's take a look at the average. So single family wise, or not the days to sell, I'm sorry, the close to list price ratio. So this will give us a good idea of kind of where we're at. Single family wise, we're hovering right around the 96 to 97%. And we've been pretty consistent since, this time last year, 96.9%. Right now we're at 96.5%. So right there on the single family side of things. Now on the condo and townhome side of things, that's where it's a little bit interesting. As you can see, we were at about 96% this time last year. Now we're at about 95%. So there's still a little bit of wiggle room on those price points, especially in the condos and townhomes. A lot of that does have to do with the assessments, but they're still holding their value for the most part. They're getting the money for it. Plus, those average price points are going up month over month that we looked at. Now, let's jump into it. Let's kind of see what you can get for those average price points on both the single family side as well as the condo and townhome side. Okay, so now we have the condos and townhome side. So our median sales price, or our average sales price was right around $600,000. So we have condos and townhomes right around 600. So let's take a look. So here's an example of one in Deerfield, 625. Let's jump down to the lowest. So 600,000. This one is a 1-bed, 1.5 bath, just under 1,400 square feet for $600,000. Honestly, it's not bad. Pretty spacious. Looks like it's got a decent view, good layout, good kitchen, plenty of cabinet space, countertop space. So that's a good idea on that one. Here's one that's on the water, a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, just under 1,600 square feet. They've already completed their 40-year inspection, which is a great sign. No upcoming assessments as well. So this one should sell relatively quicker. And look, that's a great view right there. I mean, directly out to the ocean. And this is all residential in front of it. So they're not gonna build anything, which is really nice. Let's get a look at the unit. So obviously, plenty of space within here. Could use some slight updating here and there, but it looks like they have impact sliders throughout, which is a great thing. And I mean, look at that view. You can't beat that. Now let's take a look on the single family side of things. So the single family average price point was right around $1 million to $1.2 million. So we'll start on the lower end of things. So here's one. It's a house in Sailboat Bend here in Fort Lauderdale, a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, just under 2,500 square feet. You could pretty much walk to downtown Fort Lauderdale and Las Olas, which is clutch. So let's take a look. Nice corner lot. We can finally get some inside pictures. Rooftop terrace. Nothing crazy, but good space. They do have a gas stove, which I don't know if you guys know this, but it's definitely a little bit harder to find gas stoves here in South Florida. Now it's becoming more and more common, but it is still something that's not like everyone has one like in the Northeast. So this is this one. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can find one on the water. You know what? Oh, here we go. One in Pompano. Just under $1 million, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathroom, a little bit over 1,700 square feet. And this house has been completely redone. And I will say, for the most part, you will find, especially if you want to live on the water, Pompano is the best bang for your buck, especially with all the development that they're doing. They're doing a ton. I mean, they're bringing a ton of luxury condos, the Ritz-Carlton residences, the Waldorf Astoria, the W residences, the Armani Casa like there's a lot of money being dumped into Pompano. And right now, at the time being, you can live on the water in Pompano for significantly less than you can in Fort Lauderdale. The median price point for a single family home on the water in Fort Lauderdale is $2.5 million. Meanwhile, in Pompano, it's only $1.1 million. So that's already a savings of $1.4 million. Granted, a lot of different places in Pompano could have fixed bridges, but the clearance is usually about 10 to 11 feet. So even if you have a nice size center console with a 7-foot, 8-foot clearance on your T-top, you can easily fit under some of these bridges. Granted, you can't put a Viking back there, but to live on the water under $1.5 million, that's not a bad deal. So this is an example of one here in Pompano. Let's see, let's jump up to that higher price point. This is one in Deerfield. I don't think that one's on the water. Here's another one in Pompano. So as you can see, Pompano is like the best bang for your buck right now. This one's a pool house, 5 bedrooms, 4.5 bathrooms, just under 3,500 square feet. I mean, this is a big house, especially out east. Now, let's kind of take a look at what's our most expensive listing right now in the Fort Lauderdale area. So we're gonna do both condos, townhomes, and single family homes. So let's take a look. So right now, this is the most expensive. $50 million, 6 bedrooms, 8.5 bathrooms, 11,714 square feet with 298 feet of waterfront. I mean, this house is magnificent. Honestly, if you guys want to live here with me, I'm down. But this is a perfect house if you want to live on the point, you want to have plenty of waterfront, you want to have room for entertainment, and it gives you an idea of that Fort Lauderdale waterfront lifestyle. Plus, you're also not too far probably from downtown Fort Lauderdale. Yep, so you're right here in Harbor Beach area, so you can walk to the beach. You could also take your golf cart, which most people do, up Las Olas, and you have all the entertainment right there. You also have plenty of entertainment right here on 17th Street. There's a Publix over here. Right here in this shopping center, you also get a haircut. You have Kelly's Landing in the back, and there's a Zona Fresca right here as well, which was one of my personal favorites. Now, let's go and see what's the most affordable home right now in the market in Fort Lauderdale. So it decides to load. Right now, $110,000. This is not a 55 plus condo, but a 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 650 square feet. The only downside, you cannot lease it out. But let's take a look at it. If you're just looking for a starter home, you want to get something, you don't want to rent anymore, it's not bad. 110 grand. I mean, look, does it need a little bit of work? It's a little dated. Technically, yeah. I mean, it could use some little sprucing, but for 110 grand, that's not bad at all. So that's where we currently stand right now in the Fort Lauderdale real estate market in February of 2025. But let me know in the comments, do you think we go up from here in terms of price point, or are the prices gonna level out a little bit and maybe even drop? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you or anyone you know are looking to buy, sell, or invest anywhere here in Fort Lauderdale or South Florida in general, like I said, our team would love to be a real estate resource of choice. We've helped hundreds of families just like you make the move, and we'd love to help you as well. You can call us, email, text us, whatever's easiest for you, we got you.